So, do you guys ever watch a movie and just be like, holy shit, this movie's fucking amazing. I gotta text my friends about this and tell them to watch it. Have you ever watched a movie like that?
I legitimately don't know that any movie I've ever seen in my entire life has elicited that kind of response from me. Now, part of it is because I admittedly don't watch a lot of thought-provoking movies. If I go to the movie theater or watch something at home, I'm usually just trying to watch something dumb that I laugh about.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeking out things that are meant to elicit that kind of response, but I don't think I've ever had it.
You're just trying to keep it shallow, low level, easy to digest, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like if I'm binging like something, a TV show, I might find something a little more involved or a book or something like that. But yeah, usually when I get home at the end of the day, my brain does not want to try to wrap itself around another complex algorithm.
Yeah, I don't think that I've ever had any feeling like that this movie is so amazing, I gotta let everybody know.
You guys had some really great input in this fucking conversation.
Anytime, that's what I'm here for.
Holy shit. I don't know.
Come on. Is there really, how many movies are there that are really that next level earth shattering, especially in today's day and age where it seems like everything's just a retake of everything that's been previously been done?
You'd watch more movies, bro. You sit down on the old Netflix machine and hit up the old Roku and just rent some movies. I was bored last night, just wrapping up a week, Sunday. Got to go to work tomorrow. Bumming around. I was like, you know what? Let's just rent a movie in Roku and just fucking vibe out, I rented, you see the trailers of that movie called Nobody? It's got the main character is that dude from Better Call Saul. I forget his name.
Oh, God. Yeah, I watched all of Breaking Bad. I can't think, Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, that's his name. You ever seen the trailers for this movie, Nobody?
No.
I watched this movie. It wasn't like thought-provoking by any means, but holy shit, if you like action, what a fucking movie. I watched it, and the movie had me in just absolute awe the entire time. And I was like, after it was over, I was like, holy shit, I'm texting my friends tomorrow telling them I gotta watch this fucking movie. I thought you guys had more input and have a movie conversation, but this did not happen.
No, so you like you got like film buffs. I'm the opposite of that.
I'm not a film buff per se, but
oh, I know. I'm just saying for your own frame of reference, like there's film buffs. Like I want to see every movie that comes out. I'm the opposite. I actively don't want to see any movie that I see a single commercial for, basically ever.
Yeah,
yeah. I started to try to come up with creative ways to get myself invested in going to watch movies.
See,
I'm a movie guy, huh?
I'm big on the Jack Reacher books by Lee Child, and he's got another Jack Reacher movie coming out at some point soon. So I'm excitedly waiting for that.
All right. Well, that's all I had. I just thought you guys have some. I thought we have a good movie.
Absolutely not. I have terrible movie takes.
That's the last time I fucking talk about movies with you guys.
First time, last time.
First time, last time, for damn sure.
Speaking of last time, the last time on the 716 Sports Podcast, we were just a few days away from the start, really, of the new NHL offseason. We were 2 days away from the expansion draft. We were right on the edge of the NHL draft as well. And now both those things have happened. And I guess we can kind of maybe even go in chronological order here. Starting to see another reset button being hit by the Buffalo Sabres. Now, it doesn't start with the expansion draft. I think a lot of us hoped or thought they might protect Borgen. Of course, the day after we record, they get Skinner to waive his no movement so they can protect Asplund. So that takes Asplund off the table. I think a lot of people thought that Asplund will be the pick for sure. That is no longer the case. Seattle doesn't appear to be interested in biting on big contracts. They protect Ristolainen. So Borgen, I would say almost by a lack of competition, becomes the pick there. I don't know who else you would have taken off this team based on who they protected, assuming you didn't want to take on the Skinner contract. It was a bad day online for analytics people that day specifically, but I really don't. You can't protect everyone. There were teams that were in far worse positions than we were, maybe because they had slightly more NHL ready talent, but someone had to be that guy, and I hope Will succeeds out in Seattle. I don't know what more they could have done to better protect their future core than what they did.
They could have pulled that Bristol deal prior to the the deadline.
Well, I guess they could have. That's I guess let's go right into that. That is an amazing. That's the best trade the Sabres have made in terms of, I think, perceived value received for player.
And you're celebrating by wearing a Flyers
Well,
shirt,
you know,
which is nice.
Got to be festive.
And put another number 70 in the back of that.
Is that what he's wearing now?
Yeah, they put it on their Twitter today.
Is that Carter Hart's number? I thought Carter Hart's 79. Yeah, unrelated. That's a choice. I thought 55 was good for him. Maybe he just wants to forget everything he ever did here, including the number that he wore on his jersey.
Forget his last plus minus.
Yeah. Well, he's way. They don't put 3 digits up there, so he's gotta keep going. First round pick and a starting defenseman.
Yeah.
And a future second.
Yep.
For Risto to Philly.
This is a haul.
That's a crazy haul. I guess the rumor mill says there were multiple teams willing to give up first-round picks for Rasmus Ristolainen, and I don't think we have to rehash the whole Ristolainen conversation on this podcast. We've had it a lot, and now we never have to have it again, technically.
Thank God.
Let me just leave it as I was surprised to see a team give up a first-round pick, and not just the first-round pick. The first-round pick by itself, I do think teams were valuing first-round picks in this draft a little bit less than they normally would because there was a lot of uncertainties about who got to play last year, the scouting, maybe next year's class is better. Who knows? That might just be all bullshit. And people just be like, oh, well, it's like a second-round pick. Just trying to play it off and not be disappointed that their GM was willing to give a first-round pick for a defenseman widely perceived to be one of the most overpaid players in the NHL. But for the Sabres, it's a huge win. You get a top 6 stay-at-home defenseman who's very physical. He makes a lot of the same kind of mistakes that Ristolainen does, but if he's playing bottom pair minutes, who the hell cares?
Yep.
He's making almost $4 million less than Rasmus Ristolainen is. You don't have to retain any salary. You get another first-round pick this year and a second-rounder.
In 2 years, but still.
Well, still, it's still a second-round
still
pick. It doesn't
extra pick, yeah.
I mean, it might not be a guy you never see him here for 5 years at this point, but you got to build for the long term. You take that deal and you run. That is a huge win for Kevin Adams, and that was not the one I expected to drop first, but it's an absolute huge win for the team.
Yeah, big trade. And the whole hockey world was shocked by the return.
Yeah.
But apparently the market was pretty big for big physical defenseman, and then there were multiple teams involved, and I guess that's what drove the price up. I hear on the radio waves.
From a Flyers fan perspective, so I can kind of offer both sides of it, so I get to be both excited about the trade and also disappointed about it at the same time, which is a really weird feeling. I'm Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm just shrugging, and like I'm the girl drinking the Sambuca at the table, just like back and forth. Robert Hagg is fine. He doesn't have the offensive ability that Risto showed at times. He won't be driving a power play, but he'll muscle people away from the front of the net. He's good in the corners. He's willing to scrap. He's a good guy to have as a bottom 4 defenseman. His ceiling is much lower than Risto's was and probably still is, but also for under $2 million a year, you're not really asking him to be the guy. He can be out there. He can kill penalties. He can be a physical presence. It does mean someone else will have to step up and take a lot of the minutes that are vacated now, whether it's Matthias Samuelsson or whoever's going to step into at least a portion of the Ristolainen role on the team, because Dahlin can't do everything by himself as much as I think he and Yuki Haru, who got tendered today officially, not that anyone's surprised by that, are going to be maybe the forerunners of the team, but you still need other guys who are willing to be those guys in your own end. Dahlin is still not quite there in his own end
You
yet.
have to assume that Yoki Haru is going to be the guy now. Like the
You
top,
do?
I mean, he's the best defenseman, probably. I mean, Samuelson's still super young.
Very young.
Callum Miller is Callum Miller. He's not like, I don't know.
He's inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, Colin Miller's never been like the best in his own end, though. And you kind of know what you're getting with him at this point. He's established enough that, he could be a little better than he was last year, but I don't think you're ever expecting Colin Miller to become your number 1 guy at this point.
Bryson's terrible defensively. He's way too small. He needs to put some muscle on. He's getting bodied all over the place in front of the net last year. He's a defensive liability. They're gonna be bad defensively next year. And even if they do find a way to persuade Owen Power, if it's worth it to get him up here in this, because they're gonna be bad again. If they're trading Eichel, they're gonna be bad again.
Yeah, so
I know they want to bring Power up around this shitty atmosphere, and reporters asking about tanking all fucking 82 games. And
can I table that thought for about 5 minutes? Because I think it's going to come back really nicely to what we're about to talk about next. So the next step, you could play off Ristolainen being traded as not necessarily kind of taking a step back because Risto didn't want to be here. This trade should have been made 2 years ago at this point. And you could say, like, okay, they got a really good value for him. It makes a lot of sense. It isn't until they finally go through the next step that you have to, and I don't know if it was this moment that finally broke Justen or if it was the article that Elliot Freeman put out on Sunday about the comments from Jack's camp. We'll get to those in a second. Trading Sam Reinhart to Florida for not Sam Bennett, because I think Justen will be bouncing off the fucking ceiling if they got Sam Bennett back. He was on a 4x4.5 today.
That was my immediate first thought. Oh my God, they're going to get Sam Bennett.
For a first and a goalie prospect.
Yep.
I don't know if it isn't a lot or it just doesn't feel like a lot when you got more for Risto.
Yeah. It's an interesting trade because both. So I guess Risto's under contract and goes to UFA next season.
Yeah,
right?
he has another year left on his deal right now. Yes,
and the same is for Sam Reinhart. But I guess the difference is, he's not signed right now. He just have his rights, and somebody could come in and offer a bunch of money and offer sheet.
He's an RFA, right?
He's an RFA, yeah. So I mean, you can make the argument that he's going to be UFA next season, but so is Risto, right? So that kind of comes off the table. But I don't know how much just having the rights matters because you are just trading his rights. He's not a signed player. So I'm sure that plays into it a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the difference. Is Risto's a signed player that you have him under contract for a year, and you can start negotiating with him during the season. Mm-hmm. Whereas Reinhardt, you have to get a deal done, or somebody can pluck him for you, and you've basically given up stuff for draft picks and a prospect for what ends up being nothing.
And I guess it depends on what the market is out there, too. And if they took that deal, it must have been the deal they liked the most out of all the deals.
Sure.
But is it a deal? Do you even make the deal? The prospect seems good. Devin Levi. I've heard every name. Is it Levi? Levi?
I don't know. It's a prospect I've never seen play. I've never heard it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as here. Reporters and people talking about it. I don't know what the right way is either.
Levi. I've heard it. Anyways, Devin Levy. The guy had phenomenal numbers in the World Juniors. It was like a 975 save percentage. His stats are ridiculous. Even his year before he played in the World Juniors, his stat line is insane. And he played the entire World Juniors with a broken rib. And I mean, it's interesting too because it's not terribly hard to be a goalie and get good numbers when you're playing in front of that Team Canada team that he had in front of him.
Sure.
But
I can appreciate the importance of refilling the goalie pipeline because I think we have talked recently. What is the plan for this team? Ullmark is about to be a free agent. You don't know still who the eventual guy who's going to actually hit is going to be. You hope it's UPL, but maybe it's not. So I completely understand the thought process of we need another guy. Because even if one of your three guys at this point hit, the more guys you have who have that potential, the better your chances. On the other hand, you did just trade your leading scorer, who was an RFA, for a goalie prospect and a first.
Mm-hmm.
That is admitting that you're not close and starting over.
Yeah. When they traded Sam Reinhart, that's when I was like, yep. They're rebuilding, and I've been saying the whole time, I'm probably just in denial. The last thing I fucking want right now is another fucking rebuild. This is rebuild 3.0, rebuild 2.5. I
think we talked about it during lunch today.
What is it?
Agreed it's 3.0.
It's just
well, it's 2.5 right now. It's 3.0 if they trade Jack for sure.
I don't think they needed to rebuild. I mean, I've been saying for weeks now, you got the two pieces you need. You got your number one, two center. You have one of the best centers in the world, and you finally figured you figured out your number two pick the year prior is also a very talented NHL center, which we've been saying on this podcast for years. Reinhardt center solves a lot of fucking problems, right? And they did it, and it worked. But that besides the point. I think they're going to take the assets they had this year. Especially after they traded Risto, they're going to take it that first, got some good players, and flip the team on its head and been competitive. I don't think they were that far off. I say this every year, but the way they played under Granato was night and day. And they were playing without superstars. They're playing without Cousins. They're playing without Taylor Hall. They're playing without Jack Eichel. where they put out Jay McCabe. They're playing with fucking 9th-string goalies, and they were good. They were like entertaining. They were challenging to play against. And I think they were just an Eichel away. They were losing games by 1 goal with a pitiful power play. Eichel comes back and it's the best power play in the league, you know. And then you get another. I just thought they were close. I don't think it sounds crazy to say, but the way they played under Granato without all those guys, put that guy back in. It just I don't think a rebuild is necessary. You got the number 1 D. We got the D-man and Darlene, right? You spend some money this year. I don't know. I'm kind of pissed. The last thing more right now is a fucking rebuild, and I am convinced they're going to trade Jack now. After what Peter Fish said in the Freeman article, he said trading. We basically said it. Trading him was a short-term solution and expecting it soon, right? So he said, almost verbatim in the article. I still not sure it's going to be traded by the time the season starts, so I'll still stand by. He might still start the season with the Sabres.
Right, but already here in the last week and a half since we last recorded, you have moved from I'm not sure he's going to be traded at all to he will be traded, but I'm not sure when.
The pendulum swung, yeah.
Which is another you've made it one step further in the grieving process. You've gone from denial to bargaining, which is just, well, maybe he'll still be here. When Kevin Adams, and I think I said this to you earlier off air, when Kevin Adams is on record as saying, if Jack's still here when training camp starts, that would be okay. That is not how you talk about your captain and your star players. Like, oh yeah, if he's still here, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that.
That's not a warm and fuzzy endorsement.
It isn't. It's the farthest thing from an endorsement. It's like it's basically just Adams being like, I'm not in a rush. He can be here if he wants. I don't care. He's not going to bother me. I'm going to wait for the trade I want, which is the right mentality for Adams to have about the trade. I'm not trying to rag on that. They can't do what they did with O'Reilly and just say, well, we got to get this guy moving. Let's just take the best things. St. Louis, come on down. And ship him off for a bunch of pieces who still haven't panned out. Hopefully Tage does or Johnson does or something. At least have something from that trade. But I do think we are within weeks or months, maybe at this point, if even that long, from Jack not being a Sabre. And then that means the entire future of this franchise is Dahlin, it's Cousins in Middlestat, and it's now Owen Power.
I'm not even completely sold at Middlestat yet. Like, sure, he had a great season last year. You saw it finally, but like, he did it.
He's one trade away from being a second-line center on an NHL team.
He did it as a fucking number 2-3 guy. And right now, he's probably the number 1 center. As of if Eichel's not back, and as things are, who else is going to do it?
It's him or Cousins.
Right? And it's not going to be Cousins this young in his career. They're not going to do that to him. They did it to Eichel. They made Eichel be the number 2 behind O'Reilly. I don't know. I don't think he's right.
Yeah. I think it's almost a different situation though, because I know Cousins is physically younger than Casey.
He's a tank.
But yeah,
he's physically a tank.
And at this point, Casey doesn't actually have that much more NHL experience than he does.
They did pair him against Sidney Crosby a couple times.
I think they believe and you can't. They're not going to be good next year at this rate that they're going right now. They will be difficult to play against. They will be more competitive. And probably much more fun to watch than they have been for 2 to 3 seasons. But I do not think that this team, especially if they trade Jack Eichel, this team will not be competing for the playoffs. That is not their intention either.
If they trade Eichel, they're going to be about a 60-point team.
They're going to be painful to play against. They will grind and they will try and they will leave it on the ice. And I will appreciate it from that perspective. But it will not be like they are basically at this point, they've all but thrown in for, we'll see you guys in 2 years.
See, they're not going to be pitiful, I don't think.
No, it won't be embarrassing to watch.
As it stands right now, they're not playing without much less than they didn't have last year, right? They got rid of Risto, but he wasn't making them good after Kruger left, right? Reinhart went kind of nuts. So they're doing it again without Reinhart. But I don't think they're going to be terrible. They might be fun. They're going to be fun to watch again because Dinah's got to had them going, playing offense and playing the right way. But it's just we've been doing this for fucking almost 10 years now, guys. It was the first terrible season when we got Sam Reinhart. It was 2012. 14.
Reinhart was 14.
Well, the first bad season was 2012.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
The first bad season was a couple years before that.
First bad team was 2012. That's what I was trying to get. We've been doing it since then. 2012.
When was the Miller trade? Was that 2011 or 2012? Wasn't the Miller trade before that even?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The official dark years in my mind start the second Ryan Miller leaves Buffalo.
Yeah.
because that team admitted that they were not winning with him before his career was over, and they were right. But the second that they moved on from Miller was the second that there's landmark moments in the 2000s for Sabres hockey. There's obviously the incredible run facing the Hurricanes, coming so close to making the Stanley Cup. That's the high water mark, followed by a series of Drury and Briere leaving on the same day, then Lucic running Miller and ending that season, never capturing it back, and then Miller getting traded. And from there, it's all just tank years and high draft picks and Tim Murray pee-pee slapping kids, and here we are now in 2021, and we aren't much further towards finding the right NHL formula than we were in 2012. I understand your frustration, Justin. If anything, I'm trying to share in it more than I'm trying to harp on your side of it. I don't know what else there is to say other than if the Eichel trade is going to happen, it may not happen tomorrow. I think I said earlier, because we're recording tonight, it's going to happen tomorrow morning because every big thing drops within 12 hours of this podcast releasing. But
it's like you had all the ducks were settling finally, right? Like all the things you're being patient for finally happened. Middlestat figured it out. Tage Thompson figured it out. They found the filler pieces in R2 Ruotsalainen and Rasmus Asplund. And they had the number 1 and 2 pieces. They had Eichel. They had Reinhart. They got their top wingers in Olofsson and Skinner. Right? Get another skilled top 6 guy with the first round pick of the Sherman Flyers. And something else. Fuck. Like I thought they weren't far. They closed the gap between the development and the guys that are ready. It's like it was there. And just unfortunate, they stuck with Kruger for so long last year. I'm not saying they would have been a playoff team if they fired him a month earlier, but it's like the guy. I think he's a very motivational speaker. He got me hyped up during some of his videos, but it's like he's a shitty hockey coach.
Just be a motivational speaker and stay out of a locker room, basically, at this point. I was thinking about something earlier when you were talking about this too. Is I wonder if at this point it was just that they held on to Kruger 1 year too long. Because I think they held on to Kruger 1 year too long. Because by the time it got to Granato couldn't fix everything they broke before that. Mm-hmm. Because you listen to Sam talk now, it's just about how he wanted to commit to the Sabres long term, but the Sabres weren't willing to commit to him. That broke Sam's willingness to be here.
That's Botterill.
It is, and I think the thing with Jack was broken before Granato took over. And you can tell him to shut up and play, and maybe he still would, but they ruined enough interpersonal relationships with these players that they weren't willing to be part of the solution anymore.
It's just like, fuck, I don't care.
It's easy for. I guess it's easy for us not to care, though.
You own their rights. Like you have to make they play for you whether you like it or not. That's my thing. It's like you own their contract rights. They're supposed to play for you whether. Oh, I don't want to play here.
Sure.
Sorry,
but do you want your team captain just actively hating going to work every day and leading your team?
He's got to be fucking good, and he stops hating work.
Yeah,
it's a simple solution. It really is.
I think part of it is they don't think they're going to be good right now.
I think they could have been. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think they were finally there, but they didn't have their best player, or the right coach to take them there until the end of the season. I think I would love to have seen this team. Maybe we still might with Eichel. Under Granato, a healthy Eichel. It would have been fun. I remember saying that this team would be dangerous with Eichel on it. It was. I'm pissed. I was like, if they're gonna rebuild for the fucking third time in 10 years, they just gotta stick with Adams for another 3-4 years. If they stink terribly for the next 2-3 seasons, they can't give in to fan pressure. At some point, you gotta let a fucking vision stick. You gotta see it through, right? That's probably they're here, because whatever the fuck happened between Bilesma and Murray, that was an accelerated rebuild, halted, just like that, right? Mm-hmm. And in the end, Murray had some good players. He had Kane. Rob learned how to be a great NHL goalie, right? McNabb, great player. I don't, but the list goes on. What else was I going to say? O'Reilly.
Yeah, this team had O'Reilly, Kane, Leonard, Eichel, and Reinhart.
And then they halted that. They halted they accelerated by trading the pipeline, right? They traded some guys to bring these guys in and accelerate it. And then they like I said, stopped it. to take the exact opposite approach. Let's build this slow through development and blah blah blah, and then they fired that guy 2.5, 3 years in. Like, they didn't develop a single fucking player in that time. Like, you got to let a vision play out, right?
Not only that, they didn't have anybody to develop because they got rid of all the players.
Moved all the picks and everything.
Exactly, it's like what I was trying to insinuate. Like, you get to at least let the guy build the pipeline and like let the vision play out. Like, if they're gonna do this for the third fucking time in 10 years, 9 years, 10, it doesn't matter. It's been it's a fucking decade. Let's play it through. Like, I don't know. I'm pissed. You can't tell I'm pissed. I'm frustrated about it. Like, Eichel's my favorite player, you know, and I'm gonna lose him. I don't know. I'm just so fucking irritated. I'm doing this fucking again. The only reason I watch the fucking goddamn games is about Jack Eichel. The only thing that's fun about him.
I mean, there was a solid 3 years where you just go watch Jack do something cool and be like, all right, well, that was cool. And you move on with your day. I was at that Columbus Day game against the Blue Jackets when he scored that one crazy goal his first year, and I was like, all right, I can get into this for a few years now.
And I'm not even sure. The only package I want for Eichel is one that includes Byfield. I'm fucking Rossi and Boldy, whatever, tug on my nuts. I want Quentin Byfield.
I think if that Byfield trade was on the table, he would be gone already.
Fuck. Apparently, too, I saw today that Minnesota has been looking into Jack's treatments for the past week or so now.
Yeah.
So that seems pretty close.
Minnesota, Calgary, Anaheim are the three teams that are the current mentioned most with relation to Eichel. Calgary intrigues me because I don't think they actually have any pipeline, but maybe you get a guy back. I don't want to get a guy back if we're trading Jack, though, because that's just wasted at that point. Get Gaudreau back to play with nobody feels like a waste to me.
Mm-hmm. And now apparently their plan is the short-term plan the short-term pain for long-term gain is, for Shane Wright, the supposed number one pick this year.
Short-term pain for long-term Shane?
Is that yeah,
I have no idea. I just
good.
made it up.
That's good. That's good. But you're going to put your hopes in the fucking draft lottery again? You're going to try to be last place again? Like,
you and Arizona going to compete for last place again? Going to start howling at games?
They would just start stocking up on first-round draft picks and trade 9 first-round draft picks for this guy. I don't fucking know. I'm so frustrated.
At this point, there's no right answer. And the worst part is I completely understand your frustration. I agree with a lot of it. It objectively, at this point, is too late. They have already decided what they're doing. I
know. And you know what? There's part of me, too, that they're dug in on this too. Is like they've done it with the Bills. So you got fucking Rich Boy Terry's like, oh, I've done this before with the Buffalo Bills. We're gonna do it again with the Sabres and get it right. And fuck, they might. But that's the worst part about it. Like, oh, we were gonna trade all our best players once and it worked. Let's do it again. You know what I mean?
I mean, it really does feel like they're just gonna, like you mentioned, the changes in management. They're just gonna keep changing the personnel and the idea until one of them works. And I think they just got lucky with getting the right guys for the Bills. I think Bean and McDermott are geniuses with regards to building a football team, and they just happen to be available at the right time. It's
just kind of like Steve said the same thing earlier. Steve's not here. We said the same thing earlier. They just got lucky. But that's kind of half the thing. Like, you just get lucky, right?
We talk about the one team. While this is happening, there are multiple other teams also changing coaches and managers left and right. Not quite being as bad as the Sabres, but if you're 31st or 15th, it doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of it. If you suck, you suck. If you don't win, you don't win. We're not alone in that. There are way more teams that fuck up rebuilds than find ways to do it successfully.
Yep,
the most successful build of a team the last decade was done by the Vegas Golden Knights during the expansion draft. Mm-hmm. No one else has been able to replicate that level of quick success. Not even close.
Maple Leafs did, I guess.
Yeah, how's that working for him?
Can't win a playoff series.
Get reverse swept by Montreal almost.
You see the one meme about the McGregor fight? It's a picture of Joe Thornton and Austin Matthews in the front row. And it's like, oh, no wonder the fight ended in the first round.
That's awesome.
Pretty funny meme. Internet wins again.
So I do understand the frustration.
I do like it.
I don't want to take away, and I don't want to tell you not to feel that way, because we should care and be that passionate about the team and care that much that they succeed. The frustration is that the team doesn't reward that kind of passion and tenacity, and it hasn't for a while.
I'm going to remain pissed off about it until I see the Eichel return, and I'll probably still be mad unless it's got Quentin Byfield. Then I'll be happy. Other than that, like, I was so frustrated. I literally debated just ending the podcast, guys. I was like, I'm done with the podcast. I started this podcast because I wanted to talk about the Sabres, and now I fucking hate them.
Well,
like, I can do the Bills, whatever. I'm talking football.
Yeah,
Bills,
it's the yin and the yang now, because when we started the podcast, the Bills were fucking awful. And the Sabres were
bad,
but watchable.
I was like, I don't even want to talk about the Sabres anymore. I don't want to be a Bills podcast. I'm fucking canceling. Done. I'm not doing it anymore. The real thought they went through my head.
We're a Bandits podcast now.
Yeah, just Bandits and Buttes only.
Hell yeah. FC Buffalo played over the weekend. We can talk about that. Mike and I saw a car on fire.
Yeah, Mike said he wanted to talk about the car on fire.
Hell yeah. So I already mentioned it. We had to keep talking about it now. So Mike and I called the FC
Sabres
Buffalo
team car.
Yeah, maybe it was. It was Jack Eichel trying to leave and got stuck on the side of the thruway, so we haven't been traded yet. So FC Buffalo played at Dobson Field, which is at Deauville. So if you don't know where that field is, if you've ever driven up and down the 190, it's that field on your right before you get to the Peace Bridge exit when you're going to the 190 North. It's that field. So you're back. We were on top of the press box, which is cool. It was a good view. So our back is to the 190. It's right behind us. So halftime rolls around. They're playing very well, not really focused on anything that's not happening on the field. And like maybe a minute or two later, I look to my right, and there's just smoke in the corner behind the one goal. I'm like, that's odd. And we can't really see because there's like trees and there's that big fence, but you can see on the shoulder there's just a car over there and the smoke coming. I was like, oh, that's not good. And
looked like an engine.
Yeah. Within 2 minutes, the car was entirely engulfed in flames on the side of the 190.
It just went
There
up
was
quick.
billowing smoke behind the right side goal. They blocked off the entire 190 North almost. There was multiple fire trucks. We're about to go live. There's fire trucks and sirens behind the field. They're trying to extinguish this car. The spectators are leaving the seats to take pictures of the burning car. Never a dull moment. It went really well, and they won the game too, so that's even better. But the car, I've seen a lot, and I'm sure there's more to come. But I've never had a game almost interrupted by a literal car fire.
Pretty funny. That's crazy.
Hopefully everyone's okay. I didn't hear anything about it after the fact, but we talked a lot about the deconstruction of the team. Did you want to take a little time talking about the construction of the draft that we?
I guess they're doing a good job. Apparently, they got a number of A's and A+ through the talking heads who cover these kinds of things, and they drafted a lot of scoring touch guys. 3 Russians in a row. The last Russian they drafted before that was Vasily Glotov years ago.
I remember that
in the
guy.
7th round. He was giving some good quotes in camps. He was pretty funny, but
I think we talked about your appreciation, Justin, for the European style of offense in that kind of game. So you must be excited that they've decided to go down that avenue to fill up the forward pipeline.
Yeah, but it's interesting because that European style game allows for the speed, skill. The NHL doesn't really allow for that, especially in the playoffs. You know,
Hack and grab.
That wider rink does wonders for the speed, opening up the speed and skill game.
It
does. If you watch KHL hockey, it's actually super fun to watch. I really enjoy it. You like fast, skilled hockey? Whew, it's fun to watch. But the guys are good. The one Palpatov guy, I think it's the guy. I don't have stats in front of me. I apologize. Like the one dude had like 1 assist in 22 games in the men's league. But they called him up from the under 18 league, and he's a fucking 18-year-old, 150 pounds, playing against men 3 minutes a night. So, whatever. You look at the stats in the under 18 team, lights out numbers. Guy's got crazy skill, very fast. That's what this team needs, fast, skilled players, right? And then they got Kisakov. That's a guy I'm most excited about. Look up this dude's stats, look up his highlights, look up his hands. Ooh, hands for days. I think he's one of the fastest skaters in the draft. He looks fun. You guys rips it. Power play specialist.
And obviously at the top, I told you to table that thought for a moment about Owen Power. So maybe it's nice to have another slam dunk pick at the top as a guy who everyone clearly thought should be number 1 in Owen Power. who you probably won't see the series, probably, I would imagine, going back to Michigan. You asked, do you try to pressure him to come sooner? At this point, I would say no, because why make him come here to try to fix this team when you could let him keep developing and pick him up next year?
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to Michigan, and they're probably going to win a national championship.
They had 4 of the 5 top picks in this draft.
That's absurd.
Right? That's
Never
crazy.
done before. That's
So
crazy.
that's a really, really good program they're building up there in Ann Arbor right now.
I don't even think Owen. I wonder if they told Power they drafted him because he didn't like when that was what they watched the draft party reaction, and no one reacted until they heard Owen, right? Because there's 4 guys in the top 5 that could have got called number 1. There's no real conclusive. It's suggested to be Power. But like, say from Michigan University, no one's reacting. Not even Owen. No one they say Owen, his head perks up and
Well, yeah, he had to know that like a lot of his teammates were right up there too.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to imply. Like, I don't think anybody knew. Maybe the series didn't tell him. Maybe they wanted to make it but I thought that was interesting and fun to watch. I don't know. I love watching those reactions to people. But it seemed like he didn't even know because once he didn't react until they said Owen. He was stone faced. I don't know. But yeah, he's do they bring him around here? They're gonna be bad, and it's gonna be. Crowd's gonna be fucking booing. Does the crowd boo Eichel when he comes back here?
I can't.
What does he say? What does he say when he
reception.
leaves?
I don't think it matters.
I think it matters. I think if Jack is like, yeah, I'm happy to be gone wherever he ends up.
I don't think
there's a little animosity. I think the fan base still supports him in the divorce right now. Whether that's right or wrong, that's how I perceive it, at least.
I don't know.
And I don't really know what you expect, what more the Sabres could do at this point with regards to anything with Jack at this point. They've moved everyone else away who was a problem. I can understand their perspective on the surgery and everything, even though Jack disagrees with it. I don't necessarily think that he's completely on the right either. But at the same point, I think a lot of the fan base sees a guy who tried his best for this team for a while, gave him a lot to cheer about, and got frustrated. And the team is rebuilding again.
Yeah, I think unless something changes in it, no matter what, Jack looks better on this than the front office does. No, even if it's really not that way.
Yeah,
I think no matter what, that the fans are going to perceive as Jack being more in the right than the front office.
I think that'll be a real mixed reaction. I think you get a bit of both. First game back here, if he's traded, I think you get a mixture of both.
I bet you gets a
I think
he gets a standing O first game back, 100%. Unless he really rags on the city. I don't know.
Doubt in my mind. It's a mixed reaction. I think there's going to be a number of fans that feel dejected by it just because some people are these days, right? I think it's going to be a mixed reaction. I think you're going to get some cheers. You're going to get a lot of boos, and you're going to get a nice mix. But back to where we're going. What are you going to say, Mike?
I think that goes back to what Jeff says though about what does he say when he leaves.
You know what pisses me off too? I hate these dumb fucking thank yous. You trade somebody now. Thank you. Just fucking trade the guy. I'm not a fan of it. I'm an old purist, I guess. I just think it's dumb. Or the videos of, we're going to see the videos of Ristolainen when he comes back here. No, thank you.
That guy's not getting a standing ovation, by the way.
I think he'll get cheered.
For what?
50-50.
I think he'll get cheered. He gave the team a lot.
Flyers. People don't like the Flyers to begin with.
Yeah, I think he'll get cheered. I think it's a better reaction. I think it's less booze than Eichel does.
Sammy's getting a standing O for sure.
He will.
Yeah.
Sam will. Yeah, I do agree with that. What you saying, Mike?
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that's all right.
I took this where we're talking about Owen Power, talking about Jack Eichel being booed.
You're asking about Power coming here next year.
I keep saying Power, so I got to stop saying that. Yeah, I'm not going to bring him to this locker room or to this atmosphere. Fans are going to be pissed again. Booing. It's gonna be the most dead arena in the world for the next 5 seasons again.
I think he's going to finish out his career at Michigan.
I don't know about career. He's got 3 years left.
I think for sure. I think we'll know a lot if they sign him within the next few weeks. Right? That's going to be the tell-all. If they sign him within the next couple of weeks, we'll know. But
aren't they for sure going to sign him though? Even if he goes back to Michigan, do you leave first overall picks unsigned like that?
I think go to college. I think they will I don't know, but
I guess they can because they hold on to his rights.
Yeah. But at the very least, he plays this season.
He absolutely plays here at Michigan.
Gets his title, and then comes here when that's done for the last 10 games of the season. They do that a lot of the guys. That's probably what happens.
That's what I would expect. Yes.
And then he's probably
end of the season. Reason for fans to tune in. Chance for him to get his teeth cut against some NHL level opponents. See how it goes.
He's probably a full timer next year.
Odds are good if he shapes up to be the guy they think he is.
Yeah, 6'6", put another year of muscle on.
Big boy
in college.
Just put him and Hag out there on the PK and let everyone try to muscle the right in the front of the net.
He's got some skill to him too.
He does. He moves the puck very well for a guy of that size. That's what makes him such an appealing prospect. Is that he's not just a muscly big defenseman. Is that he really does move and skate very well for a guy of his size.
Instead of a clear cut number one again, because everyone, with Dahlin, he's not that player, right? You're never gonna get the number one defender out of Dahlin. He's gonna be average. He's gonna make mistakes. So now we got the Owen Power. That's gonna be the number one lockdown guy. Then you got Dahlin can go do this Dahlin thing and. You cannot get as mad at Dahlin because we have the number one guy. He's supposed to do that. Less mad at Dahlin. Dahlin's never going to be a number one lockdown defender. Let's face it.
No.
He's out there to be a fourth forward on the ice and do weird shit and make us all drop our jaws to the floor.
But I mean, you still hope that he becomes,
he's going to be a
more
defender.
Erik Karlsson than Chingasper, maybe.
Yeah. He's not going to be Shane Gosselin, but you know what I'm trying to say. He's not going to be like the number one.
He won't be a stay-at-home
guy.
defenseman. He's not going to be Shea Weber.
Yeah,
it's not who he is. Yeah,
yeah. And when fans are in Buffalo, you get the number one pick. He's got to be an absolute world buster. But he will be offensively.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think part of that mentality applied to these picks is it builds back to what you're talking about. We're just so desperate for one of these guys to finally pan out and fix the team. I'm sure that there's already a lot of that on Power.
Someone say we already have a fucking superstar in the team. Named Jack. John. Name's John, actually. I'm not calling him Jack anymore. He doesn't deserve it.
Jonathan Lee Eichel. I don't know what his
He's
name is.
officially named John. A real basic bitch name. Sorry, John's out there. I'm not calling you a basic bitch.
Oh, unfortunately, statistically, there's at least 10 guys named John who listen to this show who are very offended right now. John Robert Eichel.
It's not a knock on John's. It's a common name. That's
JR?
Yeah. I mean, as a son and grandson of a John, I agree. It's a very common name. That's all I really have on the Sabres.
I have a friend named John Smith.
Oh, man. You might as well just change his name to John Doe, be as generic as possible. Actually, John Doe's probably less generic than John Smith. Who am I kidding?
I don't even know what to talk about anymore. I'm so frustrated and mad. I just called John's bitches. I apologize, John's.
This is a John-safe podcast. You're welcome here.
It's a safe space for all
We
Johns.
appreciate you.
I apologize for my macroaggressions.
He's just lashing up because he doesn't know how else to respond to. If you listen to the last show, Justin's going to go through the 6 stages of grief about Jack being traded over the last week. This is now number 2. We got 4 more podcasts. Go through all stages one at a time until it finally happens. He's like, all right, cool.
If we have 4 more, I already debated canceling the show because of this fucking guy.
Well, we only had the show because Justin accidentally made his smoker food too late, so he had to have people come over and help him eat it because it wasn't ready in time.
And only one of you had some, so
I'll eat some before I leave. It's fine.
I'm like ready to polish it off.
Oh, never mind that. It's fine.
Yeah, I had some meat, some pork loins in my fridge.
Yeah.
And I hate freezing meat. And I literally just smoked 3 pork loins today. I don't know what to do with the other 2 yet. Think about taking them to work. Hope they're still good. I mean, not.
It's the only one to find out.
I mean, still taste good. They'll still be good.
Yeah,
Hope they still
yeah.
taste good. I'd be a little dried out by tomorrow, but I love smoke. I got a new smoker. You gotta get an electric smoker, or you have to. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, it is a crock pot for men. You said it and forget it. I call it my cock pot. That's what I call it. Crock pot for men.
This segment's sponsored. Never mind. I don't get to do that one anymore. I couldn't do it without laughing, so I had to pull back. It's a rule. If I can't do the sponsor read without laughing, it doesn't happen. So before I came here today, while we're completely off topic and slowly derailing away from Sabre stuff, I don't know how much Olympics you guys have been watching. I've been watching a shit ton since they started on Friday. I love the Olympics.
I just watched the women's triathlon because that was on the
I
TV
did too. I watched the whole thing when I got home from work today.
where the lady from Bermuda won the gold medal, despite the fact she was like the only person from the Bermuda delegation there.
Yeah, so Bermuda is now the smallest country in Olympic history to win a gold medal because I think they very cherry-picked a population stat on the broadcast was it's 6 times smaller than Tucson, Arizona.
Something like that, yeah.
Which was so specific that I remembered it. It's very, like, why do you have that as your whatever? It's very Americanized broadcast. I've now in the last 2 days, I've watched 2 full triathlons. I watched the men's triathlon yesterday while I was just hanging around my house. I watched judo. I've watched fencing. I've watched water polo.
One guy was having bad luck with his was it the foil? Where they kept bending.
It is interesting to watch them like rebend the foils under their shoes while they're trying to do gold medal fencing. The reason I got into this whole thought process to begin with is watching water polo, handball, 3v3 basketball today on during lunch while we were out for lunch today. It is 2021. In 3 years, the 2024 Olympics will theoretically happen, and that will be the next time I watch any of these athletes compete in any of these sports ever, except for men's basketball, because I'll watch a little NBA. I'm engrossed in learning the rules of water polo and pointing out non-call fouls to my girlfriend as if she cares about the rules of international water polo. I'm watching multiple near 2-hour-long triathlons as I currently sit here on a couch and drink a beer at 9 at night on a Monday, as I'm wont to do because I'm the farthest thing from triathlon shape. I'm watching fencing. I don't understand how fencing scoring works. You just kind of stab someone and hope you do it first. I love this shit, man. I'm all about it. It is the pinnacle of sports competition. There are individual moments in other sports that beat the Olympics, but for a 2-week viewing experience, I will sit down and I am just a sucker for absolutely any Olympic event that is happening. And I don't know if I'm alone in that.
I do have those sports where I watch it for the sole reason of just trying to fucking figure it out, the scoring, the rules, and not the Olympics. And I apologize. We'll get back to Olympics briefly, but the one sport for me that I can't put my finger on, don't even try to explain it to me. I want to waste time on podcast because it's not going to work. I've watched more roller derby matches than the next guy. I cannot figure out how the scoring works. Next thing I know, someone's got 120 points and they're down 40. And I've seen, I don't know how it happened. I've seen both teams do the same thing multiple times. How is this team winning by 80? I don't get it. Don't even try to explain it to me. I'll never get it.
That'd be an awesome Olympic sport.
It would be amazing international sport. Awesome. But I have been really enjoying the 3v3 basketball.
That is very fast paced.
It's fun because I never watched the Summer Olympics. It needs something new. I liked skateboarding and I like the 3v3 basketball. Just start infusing more shit. Because it needs more team sports like the winter. Hockey is Winter Olympics or whatever. To me, it's just a fucking big hockey tournament to me.
Really excited for lacrosse. Just got approved by the IOC.
That's going to be cool.
For the next Olympics.
In 24?
What sports aren't Olympics that should be Olympics besides roller derby?
We're running out, honestly, because now skateboarding and surfing are in. Baseball and softball got in. Lacrosse will be in.
Baseball and softball are back in.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Back in is the... Yes. So those are back. I don't know.
Is America even at the table, baseball-wise? Or is that dominated by Asia and...
we're certainly at the table. I'm not convinced that we would win.
The Asians and the Dominicans. I'd
try to remember when the World Baseball Classic without the MLB players competing. I think the Dominican Republic won. Mm. But Japan is certainly a factory now for top level world talent. The U.S. is absolutely way up there, though. The majority of MLB players are Americans.
They got to bring back Olympic sports. They're doing 3v3 basketball. They're doing all this. They're going to do lacrosse. Bring me some fucking beach roller hockey.
They should bring roller hockey or floor hockey in.
For ESPN too, the beach roller hockey. But yeah, give me some roller hockey.
I love that.
Give me some roller hockey. That'd be amazing. It was so fun to watch. Because you wouldn't have NHL. You might have 1 or 2 NHLers out there, maybe some old ones, but
former probably more than
there's a whole different world of players out there we even really know about. I played against Bobby Ryan years ago when I lived in Indiana and roller hockey. Pretty good.
Yeah, I would imagine he's probably all right. Yeah,
pretty good. He sucks now in the NHL, bitch.
He's gonna drive here and just beat your ass now. Yeah. Bobby Ryan, absolutely. He and a bunch of guys named John all listen to this podcast together.
Yeah, he was pretty good, but. That'd be fun to see in the Olympics, roller hockey. That would be really enjoyable.
We got Olympic bowling. I was more people yelling Pete Weber style. Who do you think you are? I am. After they bowl at the Olympics.
Give me some yard games.
Olympic cornhole's legitimately Olympic cornhole's probably within a decade from happening. I don't even think I'm kidding.
Last year when they were having a hard time filling sports slots on TV, they would put cornhole all over the place, and some of those competitions were actually pretty decent.
I think the only thing is you have to get like enough other countries who do it. I feel that's probably still very American. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, if it gets over time, it will. I think just generically get more international appeal as it becomes more known. So maybe who knows? I mean, that's another one that would be interesting. It's like beach beer pong at the Summer Olympics.
Beach beer pong.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of guys on a beach, and they have to beer in the cups. So as the tournament goes on, they get absolutely hammered.
I like the beer in the cups. There's no other way to play it. If you're playing with water, you're not getting the full experience.
You're at the Olympics. No water at the Olympics. No. If anything, there should be liquor in the cups, honestly. But yeah. I'll settle for beer.
So what kind of beer, though? That's got to be the level playing field. Maybe going with local lagers.
I would think it has to be the macro brew of the host nation.
Yeah.
So when it's in Los Angeles in 2028, it has to be
Miller Lite. Yeah.
Bud Light. In Japan right now, it could be Hitachino or whatever they're drinking over there.
Talk about sponsorship opportunities.
Oh my God, it's $1 billion just to get the sponsor logo on the cans next to. Companies would get into fights in the parking lot for that.
You know what's got to be? We have to have some seeding rounds, right? We have seeding rounds. Highest seed chooses the beer for each round.
Ooh, I like that. Then they could bring their own. That's good. That really encourages you in pool play, which you would have to have pool play, of course.
Yeah,
you really have to work it out. I think they'll never obviously do this. I think beer pong is they should run this like a. Because the Summer Olympics only happen every 4 years. So theoretically, every other year you got the summer, and then you got the winter alternating every 2 years. There is absolutely money out there for someone to run like a beach kind of competition. You can't call it the Olympics, I'm sure, because the IOC is going to demand monetization on this podcast from even using the word Olympics. I'm pretty sure they are very, very picky about what you can actually talk about. They'll nuke your account into fucking Sabres. They'll never hear from us again. I'm actively ending the podcast for Justen by even talking about this subject this long on the show.
He said Olympics on the show.
I sure did. It's already over, boys. Nice knowing you. To run some sort of competition where you have international competition at, beer pong, cornhole, things like beach flag football, like goofier stuff like this. Ultimate Frisbee.
Fuck. Just get flag football on the Olympics.
Beach handball, beach soccer.
I was watching on ESPN too, some time ago, some international dodgeball. Now we're talking. I'm actually really surprised
really? I'm surprised that's not in there now.
I'm actually really surprised. You know what? One of my favorite sports, my favorite non-mainstream sports, is Australian rules football.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Just a bunch of
that
fucking
is crazy.
Just a bunch of fucking beefcakes playing weird rugby on a Quidditch field.
It's a bunch of guys being dudes.
That's how I describe it. It's in a weird circular field. They do some weird kick.
You got to bounce the ball.
One of those sports that I can't figure out the rules and the scoring, but
the officials' gestures are great.
Yeah, they just out there fucking maiming each other.
I actually enjoy it more when I don't understand because it's just pure chaos.
It's just pure chaos. They're absolutely destroying each other, and they just pop right back up. It's like they're invincible. It's one of the best. If you've never seen it, look it up, try to find it. It's one of the best sports to watch.
It is tough because, of course, with the time difference to Australia, if you actually get really into it, you have to watch it really weird times, but it is, you can find it. If you look, it's out there.
It is out there. It was on
NBC Sports.
NBC Sports a couple times. Yeah.
It's weird that NBC Sports is ending now. When I think about this entire 20 years of Sabres hockey, I think about watching games on Outdoor Life Network and then watching them on Versus, and then Versus becoming NBC Sports.
They were bad when it was Versus.
They almost won a Stanley Cup on Versus.
They've outsucked an entire TV network.
The Sabres were never a good team the entire history of NBC Sports Network.
That's absurd. Right? Did you watch that fucking video of Doc Emmerich narrated? It was 15 minutes long. Yeah. I watched every second of it.
Doc is the greatest.
I never realized how long it went on, and all the moments that you watched Doc narrate. Oh shit. I watched every second of it.
RJ's still the best hockey broadcaster in the world, in my opinion.
100%.
But as time went on, it's always easy and trendy to hate on national broadcasters because you hear them all the time and you nitpick, and him or Joe Buck's another guy who comes around a lot that people hate on, or Nance and Romo these days are now the new guys. Doc Emmerich is one of the all-time greatest at finding ways to add emotion to moments without making them about him.
Yeah. One of the things I don't like about him, though, is how he's made the weirdest things dramatic. He over-dramatized. Is that a word? Dramatized?
Yeah.
Dramatized? I don't know.
Dramatized.
Now
yeah.
I'm making you think about
Yeah.
it. But, like, just the way he would explain the weirdest things. He wraps it around the boards that are tall and white. Just, like, dumb shit like that. Or, like, I can't even...
I completely understand it, though, and not that I'm calling hockey at his level.
You do.
You fall into the
been
trap
there.
of using the same words and phrases repeatedly.
Yeah.
And he was always very good at, and some of them, you have him in the NHL, goes waffle boarded, like he uses like all these different ways of saying the same thing in 80 different ways.
Yeah.
But I completely understand why he would do it.
As a color commentator, I've done it, for the past 5 years with us, You feel like you're just saying the same shit over and over again. I feel like I broke a record. I've said this last week. So like you just try to find different ways to say the same shit so you don't sound repetitive like a robot.
Because a lot of the stuff you're saying is something that's happened in 5 years.
Yeah. Also,
100 times before.
If you want to hear a legendary goal call, you got to go back on our Twitter a few weeks back and find Jeff's FC Buffalo woman. Dude, Jeff had this goal call of an FC Buffalo one of the women's soccer matches as a playoff game, right? Dude, I literally watched it like 6 times. I got chills on my arms every time.
The crowd gets all the credit for that because Mike and I just had to match. So the game was at Buff State, not at all high. So we were on top of the crowd as opposed to in the middle of the crowd. So it's a very different feeling. And that game was very tense in the second half. They were up 2-0. It was 2-1. The other team was pressing the whole time. It felt like it was going to be 2-2. And everyone's like, the parents are like sitting, like everyone's like sitting on their hands. Everyone's tense. Everyone's holding their breath.
And considering the team they were playing, it felt like it happened before because it basically had happened before.
The team had drawn them back 2-2 in the regular season game. So when Catrona gets the ball to Arajo, it was just like everyone at the same time got up and moved and got excited. And you can't help but in that moment, you had to be as excited as they are. And absolutely shattered my voice for about 3 days. Worth it. And we recorded after that, so I know we already gave him congratulations, but still, it was an awesome season. It's tough to end on that exact note, but they played awesome for a team in their first year. It reminded me, I had no idea how Connecticut Fusion did yesterday. Because the team that beat them made the national championships, which is good. You always want to lose to a team that makes a good run.
Keep talking.
They lost in the UAW championship. Okay, so good for them making it. I'm trying to remember who they actually played.
Played when?
So they made the UW championship. They lost to Santa Clarita.
Oh, California.
Yeah. So Olympics forever and ever. Love it. All about it. We'll watch them before I came over here today to record. We'll probably watch them when I go back home in a little bit. And we'll watch it for about 2 straight weeks.
The one sport that I found myself always sucked into, no matter what, for some reason, is curling.
Oh, curling's awesome.
Yes.
There's like nothing exciting about it, but as I can't stop watching. It's like the Wiggles on Disney Channel. I don't know why I can't.
Because it's an easy sport to understand, so you can watch it and understand immediately what's happening. So it's really easy to get sucked into.
It also looks like something you should be able to do while with a beer in one hand and the stone in the other hand.
Why can't I get this on the thing?
Yeah, I can add it in post.
No, I don't want to
We're
do
good at
that. It's too much fucking work to edit and post. I don't do any editing to the show, as we've heard in the past. Sorry, guys. All right, I got it.
It's in my ears.
Ready?
Sure.
All right. This is a Jeff legendary call.
Even for a moment on her side of midfield. Here for Lancaster. Braun Martinez. Catrona. Sending it to the night sky. Looking for Arajo. Gets there. Around the keeper. Arajo in front. Goal!
That's good stuff there, Jeff. That's good. That's some pure emotion.
Thank you. Got one more men's cup game this week.
Sorry, I felt like I had to share it. Sorry.
No.
Oh, the weird silence there while I found it, but
No, you're good.
It's good. I felt it. I felt like I was there.
It's been fun this year. And as someone who started picking up soccer broadcasting because I wanted to just do everything and didn't really care what it was, even though at that point I wasn't very emotionally invested in FC Buffalo, I find myself more and more each year. I have so much fun doing it this year and kind of learning how to broadcast it in real time, which has been a challenge.
It's one of my favorite things about doing the broadcasting gigs we've done over the years is like how invested we end up getting. Like, how many conversations we have at lunch just about the UB men's team? What are they doing? They want to playing this fucking goalie instead of this guy.
I miss having time to do all those games. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Maybe again one day, who knows?
We're never too far.
Just a phone call away. Hey, if anyone's out there and you want your kids' sports to be commentated, maybe we'll try to live stream it. We'll try to do it if we can. Our services are available. If we're available and you want us to call them and play and color commentary for your kids' games, we will come do our damnedest if we are available. It'll be fun.
I mean, after Wednesday or tomorrow, if you're listening to this podcast on release day, I am done until October.
October. All right, I guess we're really
October.
grabbing at straws here. Any other Sabres takes? You want to get me angry again? We want to talk about the Bills at all? When their camp starts pretty soon, right?
Thankfully, starts soon, so people can shut the fuck up on the internet.
I think it's,
Can't.
as you're listening to this, I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe it's Wednesday.
It starts tomorrow?
Wednesday.
I've been so, sucked into all the Sabres news. I haven't been paying attention to.
Yeah, it's coming.
I've actually muted a lot of terms on Twitter,
It's
so I
for
can
the
stop
best.
seeing things.
Yeah.
I've never muted anything on Twitter ever, and since they brought a lot of muting, but I've done the muting the past week.
Yeah, I think if you've listened to me on this podcast or something else long enough, you will know exactly where I stand on any sort of issue that's been talked about by way too many Buffalo Bills players and media members this week. And holy shit, has this team gone from the cool underdogs to incredibly unlikable in about 2 weeks. It is hard to root for some of these guys, objectively. I know they're allowed to have whatever opinion they want, absolutely, and I won't tell them not to tweet it. But holy shit, is it difficult to look at some of these guys and have any respect for them?
Oh, man.
It is just a pain. And it's whatever you think in your own time that doesn't impact someone. The reason that everyone's so mad about it, too, is like there are a lot of people out there who look at celebrity opinions and athlete opinions and give them far more weight than they deserve. The three of us in this room, we don't give a fuck what any of these guys are tweeting, probably. I don't do something because an NFL player tells me to or not. But there are a lot of people, especially impressionable younger people, who are going to look at their heroes in the Buffalo Bills, because this community loves the Buffalo Bills, and they're going to take what these guys are saying and they're going to take it as actual medical advice, which is fucking so dumb. It's unbelievable, and it's incredibly harmful. Could legitimately lead to people dying. This team they're not the entire team, but certain members of this team have become very unlikable and difficult to cheer for. It has taken a lot of the wind out of my sails for this football season.
Yeah, I'm just tired of hearing about it all.
I am too, but if he would just shut the fuck up about it, no one would keep talking about it.
Yeah.
He just legitimately keeps opening Twitter day in and day out and doing the same thing. I cannot believe that there is no one in this organization who has said, Cole, shut the fuck up, would you please? Jesus Christ, it's unbelievable.
I wonder how McDermott dresses it all in training camp.
I can't believe he's waiting until training. Maybe he hoped he was going to get away with waiting until training camp. Until about a week ago, he actually might have gotten away until about a week ago, because it happened and then it did die down. I thought he was actually going to get away with it.
He actually released a player testing positive in a facility. Did you see that?
Who did?
Cole Beasley. He mentioned how a player tested positive a week ago.
I don't know if you should be sharing that. I didn't see that either.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big thing. I don't know. Yeah, Bill's training camp starting soon. It's going to be...
Can't wait for him to now be given a podium to answer these questions to a live microphone on the radio. That'll definitely fix this problem.
Go back to winning solves everything.
Ugh. Solves a lot of things.
At this point, I'm only watching for when it's actual game time. I'm just watching.
Also,
for
objectively,
game time
don't
at
give
all.
a fuck about training camp either, which doesn't help this issue.
Yeah.
Glad guys are getting back into shape. I'm excited for football season. It's 7 weeks away. Some people, though, should, even though as Americans, you have the right to have any opinion you want. I also reserve the right to tell you to really shut the fuck up on this podcast, because that's my right as an American.
I reserve the right to tell you you're wearing a great hat.
Thank you. Shout out to the 11-day power play for this awesome hat I got for participating on Justin's team last year.
It's funny, Steve was wearing the same hat at work today.
Well, it's a really good. The only thing that's better than a great comfortable hat is a great comfortable hat that. Well, I guess I was going to say that I got for free. Although I did raise money and participate and pay to play, so it wasn't quite free, but they didn't have to give it to me, and I appreciate that they did.
Yes. Speaking of training camp and Bills receivers, I am going to be raffling off a autographed framed Stephon Diggs jersey.
Oh shoot!
I'm going to frame it myself, and I'm going to in a nice little shadow box.
Can't confirm. In the room that we're currently recording, Justin has a framed shadow box jersey that looks dope as hell. So he will absolutely do a great job in framing and shadow boxing this. And I'm assuming you're mentioning this in this context because you are raffling off, and proceeds are going to raise funds for your 11-day power play contributions this year.
Yes, all the money's going to go to that. I don't know how the ticket's going to cost yet, but about like $10. Keep it nice and affordable.
People like even numbers.
Yeah, make it $7.50 a ticket.
Yeah, there you go.
$7.71.
I was trying to think of like a cool way you could do it that incorporates his jersey number, but that 14 doesn't play nicely into things.
I'll make it $14.11.
There you go.
You get one ticket for 14 or two for 11 each.
I don't know. Random thought, but yeah, power play's going on. Still doing lots of fundraising for that. Going to be raffling off a Stephon Diggs autographed. It's a nice blue one. It's authentic too.
Hell yeah.
Mike, you probably see it hanging up in the
Yes,
closet
I do.
there. Can you confirm it's autographed?
Is it autographed on that side?
I can't confirm it's autographed,
Oh,
but
fuck, he's ruined it. Could have lied.
but I can
fucking
confirm,
lied, Mike.
But I can confirm it is
We're
actually
too honest
there,
to do
and
that.
it is,
The jersey is
doesn't-
physically there.
and it appears to be authentic.
Nah,
But it's kind of in the shadows of in the closet. So
Christ.
nothing for free. Mike is now going to go check the jersey. Hold on.
That's why he's a married man, doesn't lie.
All right, hold on. How recently did you get this? It must be like new, right? I didn't notice it before. Oh, yeah, it's absolutely autographed.
there's no way that I could see that.
Yeah, to be fair, that is on the other side of the jersey, but Mike has taken it out of the closet and turned around to face me, and I can confirm it is autographed.
Got it at a stag party.
Nice.
I put all the pennies in. I put all my
All your eggs in one basket.
eggs in that basket per se. And I won, motherfucker. Yep.
That's awesome.
Anyways,
So I got that Jim Kelly signed football at your stag party.
yeah. You won that one?
I did.
You want to donate to a good cause?
Maybe.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I feel like the Diggs jersey is worth way more than the Jim Kelly football at this point.
I'm hoping that I'm right at $10,000. I'm hoping that the Diggs raffle puts me over $10,000. Got a $15,000 goal. We're getting there slowly but surely.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, so stay tuned for the announcement of when we're doing that. We'll mention it on the show for sure.
Yeah. We're going to do some cool fundraisers, too, if anyone's interested in that. We're really grasping at straws
Hitting
here.
the final stretch of the fundraising, and also hitting the final stretch of this podcast, which we have dragged on for many moments now. So,
All right.
We always do that.
we do.
Anybody have any closing thoughts?
No, I just appreciate all y'all listening, and we'll be interested to see whether Jack Eichel is still a Sabre the next time we record, if it gets traded as soon as Justin hits publish, which is traditional.
I guess we'll do it. So free agency starts next
It starts Thursday.
this week, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Starts this week. We'll probably do a show.
If there's
Next
anything
week.
exciting, we'll absolutely do a show next week, or maybe the week after.
We'll
at the
recap
time.
free agency. We have to.
That's fair.
And then we probably won't hear back from us until at least mid-training camp.
Unless there's some sort
there's
of
something
crazy
huge.
Bills news or
Well,
something
at
else. yeah.
least preseason. Unless there's any kind of weird training camp.
We reserve the
happenings.
right to always show up if something makes us mad.
Yeah. I got a lot of popular stuff going on in terms of training. So we're gonna dial it down to the pod for the next month and a half, while nothing's going on. So you'll hear back from us next week, and then maybe a break. Small break leading up to Bills season. But that's all I got.
Cool. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Go buy a smoker.